And then we're going to look at the resources, you guys. Hundreds and hundreds of resources uploaded by Kumu for yourself as well. So this is what's the exciting thing about it, is that this is a point in time now where Kumus can share resources and collaborate utilizing this platform. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. And last but not least, okay, so this is the thing, you guys. I've got a bunch of stuff to give away to you. First and foremost, I've got some cool swag. So you guys, I want you guys to stay with me. Hang in there. I promise it's going to be fun. And so I'm going to tell you guys how you can get your cool swag if you guys stay and hang out. Also, if you're kumus in the classroom and want some of this for your haumāna too, I've got this for you at the end. So we'll have some special makana, and then also talking about a campaign that we're currently doing as well, where you can get one of these beautiful papales, these beautiful caps that you see here. So hanging in there, gang, and I will definitely let you guys know how you can definitely learn more, have fun doing it, and everything like that. So mahalo again for being here. So real quick, ho'olauna, right? It's all about pilina. We know that as kumu, we want to learn more from each other. Where are we each other from? So in the chat, using the chat box, you guys, I want to know your name, yeah, and where are you tuning in from? So ovai oi, right? Ovai koinoa, and also your name. Okay, you guys cannot see me. Oh, lovely. I'm seeing everybody. Mahalo, everybody. Yes, put in your names. Where you coming from? Oh, Susie! Minako Kiki, love you guys. Cool Kala, love you guys. Oh my gosh. Hey, Tip, sister. Coming in from Kona. Kobe. How's it, girl? All right. Love seeing you guys. Love it. Aloha, ale, ale. Oh, I love seeing ohana. All this ohana coming in. Lovely. Also, as you guys can see, there's second question, gang. After you're putting in ovai oi, who you, where you from, just kind of share a little bit about what you're hoping to learn from this session. Please, just kind of giving us an idea of what you're hoping to learn, what are you hoping to take away, what are some of the takeaways that you're hoping also for our session on Waihona today. I really would appreciate it. This is our way of kind of seeing where our kanaka are at, where our kumu are at, and then being able to kind of make sure I hit and touch on some of those points too as we're going through my presentation today. So mahalo nui. Oh, I love that. Manao and inspiration. Okay, just for you. I will make sure I have that, Lemoni. Mahalo nui. So add that to the chat, you guys, and we'll make sure we're actually gonna crowdsource a lot of this stuff. We're gonna keep an eye on this throughout the presentation too. So mahalo again to all of you for adding your mana'o in there. Nani. So just a little bit of background about who I am. So o Kanoe Wilson ko inoa no hilo mai iau, o no Keaukaha hilo mai iau. I have to give a shout out to my homestead, Keaukaha. Hana'o ma ke kula o Kamehameha. I have been in the teaching profession since 1998. Oh my gosh, like fresh out of college, so over 20 years. I taught in pre-K, elementary, middle, high, and even at the university level here at our University of Hawaii at Hilo. I've taught in both public charter schools as well as private, so kind of seen the gambit of it all. In the last 10 years, though, I've been supporting teachers and administrators to integrate culture-based education in schools and classrooms throughout the state of Hawaii. And that's been part of the exciting work that I've been a part of. I'm like, as Casey mentioned, I am currently a senior project manager at Kamehameha Schools that supports Kanaeokana, a consortium and network of over 70 schools and organizations in Hawaii. So again, I'm just, you know, the pictures that you see here, you can see my ohana up at the top there, my husband, my dad, my kids at Hale Ma'uma'u. And so if any of you are joining our virtual huaka'i this afternoon, that's going to be a great huaka'i to actually get a chance to see Kilauea. Some of the other photos at the top there, that is actually up at Keaho with our Lama Kukui, Aha Lama Ku, which was a student leadership program partnered with our Hawaii DOE complex area here on the East Hawaii of Hawaii Island with the Hilo Waikea as well as the Ke'auka'u Pahua complex area, where we actually took students up to Keaho, beautiful rainforest area that is going now in this sort of restoration phase, taking them up to actually do some koa planting. And the two bottom pictures that you see there is actually from our Ho'okele Oiwi Leadership Development Program, where we worked with complex areas throughout the state of Hawaii, as I mentioned, administrators. So the picture to the right-hand side of your screen that you see, that is our vice principals from our complex area, our KKP complex area. We took them up to Volcano, did some outplanting, did some professional development with them. And then to the left-hand side on the bottom there, that was with our East Hawaii complex area, where we took all of our principals from Hawaii and we got to go visit and collaborate with our partners over on Kauai. So there was a nice synergy and collaboration with our Kauai complex area and our East Hawaii complex area there. So just showing you some pictures from my time together with those partners. And so just again, sharing with you all about a little bit of the background and the ho'olauna as we're still in this pilina stage. I just want to know how many of you have heard of Kanaeokana? Just simply raise your hands. Let me see a little raising of your hands, and I can see who of you have heard of Kanaeokana. Okay, good. Yeah. Some of you have probably seen it. All right, great. Okay. And as I mentioned, Kanaeokana is this consortium, this network of 70 different organizations, including our Hawaiian-focused charter schools, our Hawaiian language immersion schools, Kamehameha schools, the University of Hawaii system, nonprofit organizations, community organizations, including some of our Aina-based partners as well. One of the things that we did, wow, now it's almost 5 years ago, back in 2016, we were tasked with asking ourselves to envision, how do we as Hawaiian educators come together as a network of Kula Hawaii, as different la'au of a thriving Hawaiian forest? And that Hawaiian forest is sort of this metaphor now of what we share. When we had our participants really describe about their educational pursuits and really started to think about metaphorically where they saw themselves within this forest ecosystem or educational ecosystem, and how it sought out similarities with one another and with each other. And so this beautiful forest here that you see actually comes from our Pu'ukukui, and this is located on the west side of Maui, and so Mauka side of Lahaina. And as you can see here, beautiful picture of an intact Oiwi forest ecosystem in the West Maui Mountains. This is what a native forest looks like when you remove all the ungulates, when you have a fencing, and you're actually seeing now how a native forest ecosystem is thriving with our beautiful ferns there that you see, our hapu'us. You can see our beautiful ohi'as and how they're growing and everything like that. So this really became sort of the visual and the metaphor for us on being able to now think about, as an educational system, how do we then operate in a way that allows our students to thrive, that we provide sort of the ecosystem where our Hawaiian students will thrive, and not just Hawaiian students, all of our students, right? Because I'm a firm believer, what's good for our Hawaiian kids is good for all kids. And so when you look at every living organism, right, every living thing that goes into the understory to the canopy, and including all of the plants, animals, the wind, the rain, and all of these important roles, right, this metaphor of a thriving Hawaiian forest creates this picture, both in our heart and our mind, of that intimacy of relationships and pilina needed for collaboration and interdependence to exist. And really that is at the core, the very core of when we think about the work that we do with Kanaeokana. And so I just wanted to share with you folks that here is our nu'ukia, as well as our ala nu'ukia, our vision and our mission statement. And one of the things I just want to point out, I'm not going to read the whole thing to you folks, so maybe I will. Kanaeokana seeks to strengthen the lāhui and nurture the next generation of aloha ʻāina leaders by developing a Native Hawaiian education system of collaboration built on a strong ʻŌlelo Hawaii and ʻIke Hawaii foundation. And when you look at that, you know, to me, the key things is there's collaboration going on, right? There's foundational things. And we heard that in Ku's opening plenary keynote speech this morning, right? About how having sort of these strong foundational knowledge systems, and for us, it's our Kuana ʻike Hawaii, right? No other place in the world do we have this place, but here in Hawaii, which makes us unique. And so this is definitely one of the things that Kanaeokana has, that kahua is part of that, very foundational pieces there. So with that being said, Kanoe, what do you mean by all of this? Well, this is kind of the premise really that led us into, well, what does this have to do with Waihona? And the way it has to do with Waihona today is, as always, there is always a ʻŌlelo, right? There is always a beautiful story on how things start. Just like the story of how Kanaeokana started, we always hear the term, it takes a village. Well, it's the same thing, right? Even with education, we all know that it takes a village to raise our keiki. And so our ʻŌlelo starts with these beautiful ladies that you see here. This is Ekela Kani'opio Crozier and her beautiful daughter Kalealoha. Ekela is, long-time Hawaiian culture-based educator. For decades, she's created curriculum materials. She's been in private, public settings as well. She taught from Kula Kamali'i, from preschools all the way up to the university. We're fortunate enough right now, she's at our Kamehameha School's Maui campus, supporting ʻIke Hawaii at our campus. And then she raised her children to learn ʻŌlelo Hawaii. They all went through the Kula Kaiapuni system. And so these things, Hawaii culture-based education is at the core of their ohana. And so her daughter, who attended immersion, also eventually graduated and decided, like her mother, I want to go into education. I want to be able to give back to my community. And what better way than to go into education? And so she did. So currently, right now, she is a kumu at Paia Elementary Hawaiian Language Immersion Program. And so the first thing she did when going into the program or going into the classroom, Kalealoha, was what she started to do was she started to notice and look around and go, wow, wait, where's all the Hawaiian culture-based educational and learning materials? What we do know, right? And if we remember, those of us who remember the Hawaiian language movement, when it was starting 20, 30 plus years ago, a lot of the curriculum had to be created. And a lot of that curriculum started where we were actually taking books that were already published and actually translating them into ʻŌlelo Hawaii. So some of us remember those Oki and Tuko days where we were printing out papers and cutting them up and gluing them to books and then making sure to disseminate them out to our immersion schools. And so one of those things now that we realize is that in today, right, we have enough that we should actually be creating our own culture-based resources. But how come? Why not? And so right away we realized, well, that is definitely needs of our teachers. That how do we get culture-based resources into the hands of our teachers? Also, of course, we all know, and we're still in it. Last spring, right, the pandemic hits, and all of a sudden, classroom teachers transferred over to now ohana and makua, and now families were now the kumu that had to support keiki at home, and they too also needed to have resources to support learning makahale. And of course, the other thing is that as Ku was mentioning before, our education needs to start at the community level. And so it's also looking at the needs of our community too. So this is where the pebble in the pond started for Waihona. Where can we find Hawaiian culture-based resources? Waihona. Where can I find resources in Hawaiian language? Waihona. And of course, these resources are created by our communities for our communities. And I think that's the beautiful thing about our Waihona. But we do know that we weren't the first ones to create such a Waihona. And so some of you are asking, well, what does Waihona mean, Kanoe? Well, Waihona, as you can see here from our tutupukui and our puke vehevehe, it's a repository, it's a vault, it's a receptacle, it's something that we know that we are able to hold things in. And so one of the first Waihona that we liken to, that we actually use and examples to share within our history, is our Hawaiian language newspapers. Kaui Kioli, the gentleman that you see on the right-hand side of your screen, his edit in those words, he aupuni palapala ko'u, right? Mines is a literate nation. And from there, we know during his time, the explosion of the Hawaiian language newspapers occurred well into the 20th century. We still had Hawaiian language newspapers. And of course, now we're actually reverting to that. We are starting to see more publications that are coming out in ʻŌlelo Hawaii. And it's, I'm glad to see that we are in this midst right now of celebrating Mahina ʻŌlelo Hawaii and celebrating ʻŌlelo Hawaii and sharing that with the rest of the world. We do know, and if any of you were just in Keanu's presentation, he talked about how the citizenry of our Hawaiian kingdom was one of the most literate nations in the world that could read and write in Hawaiian language. That is beautiful right there. And so our kupunas have always been forward thinkers. When it came to ensuring our ʻIke will always be accessible, as in this situation with our newspaper publications, during these newspaper explosions, tons of ʻIke kupuna were captured. Today, we all look to those resources when we conduct research or we're just reading the Hawaiian language newspapers. If you guys remember, right, as you're reading those Hawaiian language newspapers, a lot of them are sharing, this is not for us today. This is for future generations. This is for my mo'opuna, and mo'opuna is mo'opuna. And so they wanted to ensure that there was a legacy, right? That there was a legacy that they would leave behind to ensure that our people today knew, our generation today knew about the richness, right? The beauty of our culture. And so our kupuna ensured future generations were walking in the footsteps of our kupuna, our ancestors who created the repository of the Hawaiian language newspapers and a way to leave a legacy for future kumu and haumāna. And really, that's what it comes down to for Waihona. And so what is Waihona, you might be asking? Okay, Kanoe, come on, just get to it already. Well, Waihona, one, it's a collaborative space. Educators can get onto this website, share lessons, share ideas with one another, and I promise you guys we're going to get there soon. We're actually right now in an early sneak peek phase. Even though we've opened it up to everyone, we are still in the development of it. So that's the exciting thing about Waihona. So when coming in, and I'm going to have a chance to actually engage you guys in asking you folks, where do you want to go? Where do you see Waihona going? The focus is Hawaiian culture-based learning resources, ʻŌlelo Hawaii, Hawaiian language, culture-based learning materials as well. We know there are a lot of sites out there. I did see someone mention earlier about TPT and using sites like that for it. There's also, STEM sites, right? So there's a lot of sites that are out there that are able to crowdsource and utilize or share resources with other teachers too. Our focus here is Hawaiian culture-based education. Crowdsourcing, what we're talking about there is a way in which we're all sharing ideas with one another, where kumus are able to share ideas with one another. And then, of course, ultimately creating systemic change. And so when it comes down to it, what are we talking about with systemic change? It's supporting haumāna. So for us at KS, it's about having this vision, 2040, thriving lāhui. What does that look like, right? And so the more that we have these tools, the more that we can actually then be able to show to the rest of the world, look at all of these lessons, this what kumus are sharing, the more that we can actually show that there is systemic changes happening, both within our Hawaiian public school systems, our Hawaiian focused charter schools. It's time to elevate that ʻIke. Time for us to actually show and be able to share. And so if you like that, and if you like the sounding of that, you guys, please give me a hand raise. That's our virtual high five. Raise your hands up. Give me that virtual high five, because this is the part that is really getting exciting about where Waihona is leading and where we're going with this. Because again, like the Nupepa, it's not for us, right? It's for future generations of kumu and haumāna. And so we're right now just part of the continuum that is sharing this. And so really quick, just an interactive poll, and I just want you guys to put it in the chat. How many of you are already using Waihona? So just give me a 1 for a yes or 2 for a no. How many of you are already using Waihona? And go ahead and put it in the chat. Oh, a nice thumbs up, Candace. Yes, love it, love it. Nani, okay. All right, some of you. And that's okay if you haven't, because that's why you're here today. Definitely why you're here today. Mahalo. Lani, okay, looking good, gang. Mahalo for that. Okay, Nani. First time hearing about this? Okay, KK, don't worry. We're going to get you to learn more. And so, first and foremost, let's head on over. This is going to be our virtual huaka'i. So, I'm going to take you guys over to the website right now. It's called waihona.net. Those of you that want to just click on the link, go ahead and open up a window yourself. That's good too. If you want to just multitask that way and just listen to my voice, that's good as well. But I'm just going to open up Waihona here, and you guys will actually be able to see the website as part of the presentation too. And so definitely want to get those of you who aren't, we're going to get you guys registered and signed on to Waihona so that you can see and visit all of the different resources that we currently have on Waihona. I just also want to share with you folks that our Waihona website is not being outsourced. We actually have our own Oiwi Kanaka coders who are actually creating this website, you guys. So that's the other thing, right? Is when we start to have our haumāna think about what kind of jobs can I go into, what kind of things can, you know what? These are our own Oiwi Kanaka coders right now, our Native Hawaiian coders that are actually creating the website. And so that's another thing to think about too, is that these are now future job opportunities for our haumāna. So waihona.net here, real simple bar that you see here, the menu bar up at the top. So going right across, we have our resources. We'll have a chance to take a look at contributors and the organizations. On our opening page here, you can see again, Waihona, where kumu share resources, ideas with each other. For those of you yet that have not signed up, you just press the register button. And once you click that register button, it'll take you to the registration page. And right away, you can sign up for an account. Now, you can either, if you don't know if your school and organization is not currently a part of Waihona, Mai Hopo Hopo, because you can also join via Hale Kako'o. However, if you click on this and you notice your kula or organization is part of Hale Kako'o, make sure you check with your po'o or your admin person because they will probably have the invite code. Each organization we gave them an invite code upon signing up. If your organization is not here though, Mai Hopo Hopo, again, I'll show you a way to actually sign your organization up to be part of Waihona. And so all you would do is click on any of these two buttons to go ahead and create a new account. Now, just going back to our page here, we have a roadmap. Again, this is still under development. So when I go down here, you can actually see where we are and what phase of development that we're in. So what's real critical right now is the more kumus we can come in to actually get onto the site, utilize the site, the more that we can actually get more mana'o and ʻIke from you folks to help us steer the Waihona Va'a into a direction that is going to be useful, user-friendly, but as well as purposeful and intentional on what your needs are for accessing resources in your classroom. Danielle, hey girl, aloha tita. All right, so some more as we go down, you can share, collaborate. Again, having fun, you guys, that's the main thing. Here's a little bit of our development roadmap, but I'll share a more up-to-date one later on. And this gives you sort of the whys. Yeah, why come in? Why join the Waihona movement right now? You know, some of the things that we can build together. And then here again, registration. Those of you again who are interested in getting your organization up, and I'll show you what happens with organizations. There is a link down here at the bottom of the page. So that is another way that you can register. Yes, Lee, you can register as an individual. So when you click on the registration button, you can definitely start your process there. I would probably recommend you just join in through the Hale Kako'o side. And so, of course, the star of the show always, because this is what we always want to see and know about, is resources. And so, as I mentioned before, resources that are uploaded by kumu for kumu, as well as Ohana. So you can see here our Ohana engagement team as well has also uploaded. So for those of you Ohana, Makua, Kūpuna looking for resources for your keiki while they're at home distance learning, we have that here on Waihona as well. On the top, we currently have search filters. So we don't have we don't have lists yet where you can create your own lists, but that is upcoming. And so right now what you can do is actually search using our search filters. So say if you are a classroom kumu and maybe you're looking for 4th grade curriculum. Once you click on that, you can now start to see all of the different resources that are age appropriate for your haumāna. Ai pawahi halekako osai under the registration. Also to those of you that are Aina-based collaborators, Aina-based educators, look and doing things regionally, regional specific. We also have a filter for Aina. That Aina is separated, as you can see here, Papahala Mokuakel, our partners at NOAA, who are doing things with our Northwestern Hawaiian Islands. If you are a kai person that is doing work within our different fisheries, our different kai e walu, then we have all of our different moku puni as well as moku and districts separated out as well. So you can see all of these different Aina-based filters as well that we have. Also to asset types. What that means in this case is that when you click on asset type, that really comes down to resources. And so a lot of times the questions that a lot of our kumu or educators or makua ask is, well, what do you mean by resources, Kanoe? So you can actually see here what that means, right? It can be from a simple lesson to an activity guide. Maybe you came up with a really cool assessment. We heard Ku talking about the ʻIke assessment, right? Digital tools, diagrams, quizzes, ʻIkes, flashcards, all of these different things. The other thing too is you can actually add your own. So if you're actually creating resources, there is a way that you can actually add your own to this list as well. You can also search via collaborators, so we'll have a chance to take a look at our collaborators, but you can see that drop-down menu list that you see there. Also too, we've added cultural. So cultural, as you can see, broken down into different areas. Hana no ea, Waihona, right? Honua, Lani, Puana ʻike, Lavena, Loina. All of these different terms that you see here, I highly encourage, mahina ʻŌlelo Hawai'i month, use your vehe or wiki. You can find out what these terms means. But each of these, as you can see, mo'olelo mele, all applicable, in which when we're looking at Hawaiian culture-based education materials, when we're looking at different ones here for our haumāna, what are we saying? What are we looking at? So hana no ea, oi hana, here's one that you can see all of these different resource materials for our cultural. Also too, we have frameworks. So I know a lot of times we're always looking at ways on how do we align curriculum. And so in this case right now, we have 2 frameworks that are currently up. Eola, familiar to a lot of our kumu that are out there from Kamehameha schools, our tri-campuses, as well as Nakula Kamali'i. And then, of course, any of you from the public school system, Naho Pena'o or Ha. And so these are 2 frameworks currently right now that we actually have that are inputted. So again, when you click on those, you can actually see what resources and materials that we have that are aligned to those different frameworks too. So really cool things that we have here. And again, the database is constantly growing. The resources are constantly growing. So keep coming back, you guys, and keep using it. One of the other things I want to share with you guys here is our contributors. So this is kind of a unique aspect to the site. It's kind of giving you sort of this social media aspect, if you will. Want to know who's part of the Waihona community. So you can actually see of over the 700 community members that we have, you can actually see who is on there. And then, so when you click on them, and I shall click on Kehao here, you can actually get a bio of them. You can see what their contributions have been to Waihona. And the other cool thing is, like a lot of our social media, you can actually follow them. And so you can either click on the button here to follow, or there's also a star up here in the corner. And that's really cool because what happens is, or in future development, what we're looking at is as you follow this contributor, eventually what will happen is you'll actually get pinged and you'll get in your inbox, hey, Kanoe, by the way, Kehao just uploaded a new resource to Waihona. Go check it out. And so that's going to be in our next development phase of Waihona as well. But one of the cool features that we have here. So again, that collaborative space where you can actually now be able to see who's on here and then also collaborate with kumu across our Aina. Who'd have thought, right? And so to be able to then network with a kumu at a Hawaiian focused charter school, say here at Kuokala School, that would be able to then be able to collaborate with a focused charter school, say at Kawaikini on Kauai. This is now a platform that will allow you to be able to do that and work that. So that's the exciting thing that we see so happening. And then also to the organization. So currently right now we have over 100 organizations right now on the platform, and you can actually again scroll down to see all of the different organizations. So from our Hawaii focused charter schools, as I mentioned, nonprofit organizations, our Aina-Based collaborators and partners, Hawaii DOE, some of our Hawaii DOE partners, our schools and our public schools. So National Park Service, Kalaupapa. So really awesome things that we're starting to see, and now a way in which our collaboration is coming together with different organizations. So again, expanding the network, right? Taking that village and now using a platform, a digital platform like this to really expand that. Under the more that you see here at the top, we have badges. So badges, this is one of the ways we funified the site. I like to use the term funified instead of gamified. I know our tech guys are gonna be like, what? But funified the site. And so you can see here that every time you come back and you utilize Waihona, you'll get a little incentive, right? There's a little incentive. There's a little bit of intrinsic motivation there to kind of get you to like, hey, come back and visit us. Hey, thanks so much for helping us out. And so first and foremost, once you get onto Waihona and you sign up with there, you get our beautiful ʻŌlelo there. And that's our nene eating her ʻŌlelo berry and a way to welcome you to our Waihona. Also too, as you start to upload more resources, you'll see a badge called Kumu Lipo. All of these graphics, you guys, all actually built in-house, which was really awesome. So again, we have our own graphic artists actually creating all of these, also along with our lovely ʻŌlelo Hawaii puns that you see here. Who are you? That's if you actually create your profile. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Excuse me, kalamai. And then lastly, our bug finder, our nana, our happy face spider that you see there. The other thing is, I mentioned already the assessments and the frameworks. So I did share already, we have Aola and our as well as Naho Pena'o that are two currently active. You can see the other frameworks that we have in the queue right now, Common Core, NGSS, of course, our Hawaii Focused Charter School Vision of the Graduate, our Ka'eo, which is for our Kaiapuni schools, Waihona, and Nahonua Mauliola, which are Na'ala ʻIke, our Kupu framework currently right now being developed with our Hawaiian in partnership with our Hawaii Focused Charter Schools. As we move across at the top here, one of the other things that we've done, also thinking about again the foundation of ʻIke Hawaii ʻŌlelo Hawaii, is we've actually translated our or starting in the beginning of the process of translating our site. So if you are an ʻŌlelo Hawaii user, you'll notice up at the top there's a toggle switch that says ʻŌlelo Hawaii ʻoe. If you toggle the switch, that now turns the entire site and translates the site. So all of our ʻŌlelo Hawaii, kumu ʻŌlelo Hawaii, actually now can see the site all translated in ʻŌlelo Hawaii. And we're working with our kumu right now, ʻŌlelo Hawaii, to actually constantly update the site. So as more resources, also then being able to translate those resources too as well. And then last couple of things, you guys, and then we'll have a chance to kind of talk story after this, because I know my time's almost running out. I've got here our inbox. So recently we just added a new inbox where you can actually now be able to message someone directly within Waihona. So again, if you're going into resources, the resources now, you'll actually be able to create a new message from that resource to ask the kumu directly about the use of their resource, right? How did you use it in your classroom? What were some things that you noticed? And so different ways in which now you can interact with one another utilizing this platform versus having to go out, find their email, and then try and message them that way. So more tools that we're developing. And then lastly up here, you'll see the avatar. This is just a drop-down menu to show you our different, your inbox, your contributions, and things like that within Waihona. And so, as I shared earlier, this is all still being developed, and this is the exciting part about where we are with Waihona. We are currently in that roadmap, as I shared, in phase 5. So sorry, you guys, let me just get down to my roadmap real quick. And so you'll actually be able to see where we're currently at right now. So this is where we're at. We're finding ways to engage more with our users. And then here's more that we have on the docket that's going to be coming up. including doing iOS, mobiles, apps, things like that as well. One of the things I wanted to share with you folks is here. So, you know, I've done all the talking, but I want some kumu to also be sharing.
Aloha mai kākou o ka hanu Repository o ko ʻoinoa, a he kumu o lalo Hawaiʻi o ma ke kulaki ʻike o Kamehameha ma ka pālama. First of all, I wanted to share my aloha with the entire Kanaeokana team. Mahalo nui loa for all of your hard work and your dedication to our lāhui. And mahalo for this amazing new resource, Waihona. As an educator, I can really see the value and the impact that this is going to have for our entire educational system here in Hawaii. And it's a easy to use way to collaborate with other educators from across the entire Aina, from DOE to Punanaleo to Kaiapuni to our private schools as well. A really good resource, especially in this 21st century of technology and you know, distance learning. So mahalo for this great resource, and it really brings to mind the ʻŌlelo no ʻeo ʻaʻohe pauka ʻike ka halo hoʻokahi, that not all knowledge is gained from one source. You know, I love learning from other kumu and how they incorporate ʻike Hawaii and how they teach in their classroom and what methodologies they use in their classrooms. So just mahalo nui loa for this great idea. And I recently uploaded one of my workbooks, Hoike Aku Hoike Mai. Just has a lot of fun activities in there, but it's also an easy way to learn some ʻŌlelo Hawaii. So I created it not only for me, not only for my students, but for anyone who wants to learn. So if you want to incorporate it into your curriculum, please feel free to and follow me on Ho'opili Mai. Just, you know, some ʻŌlelo Hawaii small tips on Instagram. So. But yeah, other than that, just mahalo nui loa for all of your hard work and for creating this beautiful website that you can just upload and share and, you know, unite our lāhui through education. Yeah, mahalo nui loa, aloha.
Right, mahalo kahanu. This is one of the things, as I mentioned, you guys, super exciting to see kumus, and now is the you know, one of the early, I think, like aha moments, and then that was like a woohoo, like we actually saw this happening and unfolding, and that was the real awesome thing, was that, you know, it was cute because Kahanu actually shared that resource. And then if my girlfriend is still here, Shauna, she's a teacher at Kuokala Charter School, she actually then also uploaded that resource and was able to share it with her students at Kuokala. So that was so awesome to hear their stories and everything like that. So here's one of the interactive things I wanted to do with you folks today, you guys. Again, this is, again, getting you guys more involved with the development of Waihona and the website itself. And so one of the things that we were asking, and if you guys are able to, even if you have a smartphone device as well and everything like that, you can utilize your iPad, you can go onto your iPhones too as well, or if you're at your laptop, just go to www.menti.com. Use the code up there, 2015-58-9. I want to see right now, what are you guys thinking? What is the next thing we should be working on for Waihona? So if you guys can start to do that, that would be great, because then what we're going to do is I'm going to take this back to our development team to really help us think more about what is it that we, you know, this is listening from the kumu. Oh, nice. And so we're starting to see some responses. There is 6, but know that you don't have to fill out all 6, you guys. You can fill out what's best for you. If you don't know too, that's all right too. That's fine too. So mahalo again. But this is great. Curated, featured, Aina-based content. Ooh, wow. Okay, so we're coming up to that Aina-based content. Lovely, nice. And so loving, how's that? Okay, so more on that, growing there. Collaboration, communication, video conferencing tools. Okay, that's a good one too. Yep, we are looking at, and as I mentioned, we do have sort of that inbox feature and the messaging feature. Easier navigation. Okay, nice, you guys, keep it going. Curating content, looks like it's at that top, so really appreciate that, right? Because I think that's a lot of times, you know, making things easier, making it searchable or easily searchable, so you don't have to spend hours of time. And I get it, as kumu in the classroom, right? We don't want to be spending so much time just searching and looking and finding out, right? that if it's best, if it's ways to feature it, curate it, and then the content for Aina-based education, it's supporting that in the classrooms also as well. Yeah, we're almost getting to the end, you guys. Couple more things for you guys that I want to make sure that we capture. And so, okay, looking good, loving it. So it looks like, so keep on. And so again, mahalo to you guys for that. A lot of our this data that we're going to collect, a lot of your manao that we are looking at today is definitely going to go back to our team and help us in our next steps when it comes to that roadmap and some of the features, looking at future features, also development of Waihona as well. So go ahead, keep adding, love it. I'm seeing at least 43 responses, so mahalo to those of you that have responded to it. Okay. Last but not least, I know for most of you probably going, okay, she was talking about some ways in which we could get some cool stuff. And so in my last few minutes, I just wanted to share with you guys that we have right now a campaign that is going on to actually encourage you to upload and share resources on Waihona. And so if you register for Waihona right now, as well as uploading resources to Waihona, if you upload resources, you see that beautiful cap or hat, or even the one that I'm wearing right now. I don't know if you guys can see my camera, but this is the women's version. As well as you in the picture there that you see, that is the kane, right? Kind of the higher build there. But we are actually giving these away to everyone who uploads resources, at least 4 resources to Waihona. You can get our beautiful swag cap that you see there. So that's one of the goodies, you guys, right now. Yes, definitely, Waiale, love that. The potential for inclusion of our cultural practitioners to share and learn. I was thinking about that. Even our halaus, yeah, our halau hula, our papaluas, just all of those. Yes, exactly. Mahalo. The other thing too is that those of you who are looking to want to dive deeper, want to do something after this conference, want to learn more, want to share, we are actually going to be doing a Waihona community of practice. And so Waihona community of practice, we actually are going to be offering that to any of our kumus, any ohana, our kumus that are interested to learn more of our Waihona. It is going to be designed for teachers, and it's a dedicated time and space where you're actually going to have some dedicated time with our team, as well as some tech support to actually help you to design and collaborate and create resources for Waihona. There is an honorarium, so if you are interested, at the end of this, I'm going to ask Devin to put the link up, and you guys can actually fill in information there so that we can get in touch with you. And of course, last but not least, you guys, this is the one. So for your time today and spending your time today, mahalo each and every one of you for coming and hearing and listening and hopefully getting just as excited about Waihona. I have a little bit of makana for you guys. So Devin's going to put in the chat the link right now where you can actually fill out, and we are going to give you guys some Kanaeokana stickers today. And if you're a classroom teacher and you want this also for your students, we've got here for students as well. So just let us know and we'll get these over to you folks as well. With that, just a quick one right here. This is our team currently right now, as I shared, our technical support gang, Kalani Bright, Krista Jones, Maui Bartlett. These are the guys that are doing it all. They're the coders. They're creating the website. And again, just sharing with you folks, my name is Kanoe Wilson. If you are interested, you're an administrator, you're a kumu, you want to have or learn more about Waihona, that's my email information. You can contact me there. And with that, I just want to say, mahalo nui loa ya'oko pakahia pau na kahele ana mai ke ia la. Mahalo also for supporting Hawaiian culture-based education. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the conference. Ahui ho, mahalo pono. Mahalo.
Aloha, guys. I just wanted to say thank you, Kanoe, for your leadership in building and sharing such a user-friendly and valuable repository that's rich in HCBE resources. This concludes our session, but before we do, can you all turn on your cameras and give Kanoe a round of applause, show her our mahalo for her leadership of this awesome project. And again, this concludes our session. And so please leave your feedback for Kanoe, and you can access links to your next session in the chat. And enjoy your lunch. We're on lunch break, so enjoy your lunch. Ahui ho, mahalo nui.